George West, the head of marketing at Frito-Lay, founded Doritos in the 1960s. He discovered crispy tortillas at a nearby restaurant or didn't meet the standards for sale. The word Dorito comes from the Spanish word dorado, meaning little pieces of gold. Doritos became the best-selling chips in the world in 1988 and remain popular to this day, with 10 different flavors available. The main ingredient in Doritos is cornmeal, which sets them apart from regular potato chips. Corn cobs are carefully harvested from the plants. The cut has to be cleaned to avoid damaging the kernels and to keep the cob intact. Up to 140 tons of corn can be harvested in a single day, ensuring the factory has everything it needs. The stalks are cut just above the ground, then the cobs are removed and tossed into a container. Once the container is full, the large pile of corn is loaded onto a truck for processing. The supplier cleans and dries the corn kernels. The process involves passing them through a vibrating sieve to remove dust, as well as any stones or sand. The moisture level of the kernels then needs to be raised to 14%, which is critical for the next stage of production, where the corn is sent to the nacho factory. Every day, 99,000 pounds of corn are delivered to the factory. The dried corn is transferred from massive silos into a pot where it is cooked in water. This amounts to over 14.3 million pounds of finished product per year. That's a lot of corn. Frito-Lay operates one of the largest chip-making factories in the world, producing more than 100,000 bags of nachos daily. The factory is divided into 4 main zones. In the corn zone, tortilla products like Doritos are made. At the center is a 700,000 square foot distribution center. About 70,000 bags of Doritos are produced per day, which adds up to roughly 18 million bags annually. Upon arriving at the factory, the first thing you notice are the 2 corn storage silos, each holding 265,000 pounds. From this supply, the factory can produce boiling temperatures. Then, the corn is transferred into 18 open tanks, where it is left to soak for about 12 hours. Each kettle holds around 660 pounds of corn and about 200 pounds of water. The corn is boiled for about 4 minutes at 200 degrees Fahrenheit, and then left to soak for 12 hours. After cooking, the corn is transferred into large tanks, where it soaks overnight to soften. The corn is left for 12 hours to absorb more water. The soaking process allows the corn to take in moisture and helps remove the hull, the outer shell of the kernels. A machine filters out the water, leaving only soft, hydrated corn. When the moisture content reaches 45% and the hulls are softened and loose, the corn is sent to a washing machine by a pumping system. The loose hulls are removed with a water spray. From the drum, the corn is carried on a conveyor belt to the milling machine. After being cleaned, it enters the grinder, where rotating millstones grind the corn into a dough. The kernels are literally crushed between 2 stones, resulting in a smooth corn paste. During the milling process, water is added to the cornmeal to create the right dough consistency. The dough is checked for 3 key factors: moisture content, temperature, and grind texture. It exits the mill through a small nozzle, forming a thin sheet. This dough sheet is placed between 2 metal rollers. A third roller is responsible for cutting the dough into individual triangular nachos. The dough sheet passes through rollers with triangle-shaped indents. First, it goes between the 2 rollers, then through a cutter that gives Doritos their signature shape, much like a cookie cutter. The sharp edges of the roller cut the dough into perfect triangular pieces. This machine can cut 6,000 chips per minute, producing over 8 million chips a day. The cut chips are placed on a conveyor belt that carries them to the next stage, the oven. Although the process is well designed, there's always some leftover dough, but it doesn't go to waste. It's sent right back to the dough vats to start the process all over again. Now it's time to cook those tortillas. It reaches several hundred degrees. The nacho triangles spend only a few seconds in the oven to give them the right texture and prevent drying out, while sealing in moisture that creates the signature Doritos bubbles. The industrial oven seals the outer surface, locking in moisture, which causes the dough to puff up and form bubbles. This is what makes Doritos so crunchy. 16 seconds in the oven is enough to dry the dough just enough so it doesn't break when handled. The bumpy texture of Doritos is a result of the heat pulling small moisture bubbles to the surface of the dough. The tortillas are then cooled on several conveyor belts and sent to the fryer. This brief pause also allows inspectors to check that none of the tortillas burned in the oven. The triangles are fed into the fryer on a conveyor belt. The oil is heated to 360 degrees Fahrenheit, and the nachos are fried for 55 seconds. During this time, the nachos develop the perfect color and texture. The bubbles on a finished Dorito are air pockets formed during the frying process. They are then removed using a mesh conveyor belt. As they come out, the fryer is filled with leftover oil. Next, the Doritos are transferred using vibrating conveyors into a special drum, where they are mixed with the right seasonings and ingredients. At the next station, a screw conveyor feeds the nacho seasoning into the drum. Huge bags of the seasoning mix are added to the top of the machine, and a hopper containing the secret blend of cheddar cheese, Parmesan cheese, and spices is placed into the drum. Various cheeses, spices, flavor enhancers like monosodium glutamate, and preservatives, intimidating the large drum might seem, it evenly distributes the seasoning. The delicate chips are handled in a way that prevents them from breaking apart while moving through the drum. To ensure they are fully cooled before packaging, the seasoned Doritos move along a 98-foot conveyor belt. Once the nachos exit the drum, they head to the packaging section. Through hoppers, they are directed to various packing machines. The highlight of technical choreography is the packaging device. Each machine has 14 bucket scales. The Doritos are positioned, then pass through a weighing machine where a series of scoops accurately measures the weight of each bag of Doritos. A trapdoor opens, releasing the nachos, and the machine forms a strip of aluminum and plastic into a bag once enough chips are ready for packaging. The nachos drop into the bag, which is sealed and cut using heat, as the bottom of the next bag closes. Nitrogen is pumped into the bag, which is then sealed airtight. This process prevents oxygen loss, keeping the Doritos fresh for an extended period, and creating an air cushion to prevent the chips from breaking. Each large bag of Doritos contains about 100 chips. An operator ensures that each box holds 8 bags. The plant's production and packaging output of 70,000 bags of Doritos per day adds up to more than 18 million bags per year.